Hello, everybody. John King with Summit Funding, and I appreciate you joining me today for my new weekly live broadcast series. I'm going to be broadcasting every single Thursday at 1:30 p.m., and I'm going to be calling this my Business Booster series. And my Business Booster series is really designed to help real estate professionals and industry professionals and just business people in general on things they need to know related to the mortgage and real estate industry, but also things business related and how to grow your business. So we're going to be doing a 30-minute conversation every Thursday from here until eternity. And we're going to be talking about lots and lots of different topics that will help you to grow your business, to drive your business structure, and how to be really just a better business person, and also things you need to know about the mortgage and real estate industry that I can help you out with. I'm also going to be doing a series that is focused on consumers, focused on homeowners, current or future homeowners. And that's going to be every Friday at 12 noon. I'll be doing a live stream that's going to be called My Financial Fridays. And we'll be talking about tips for homeowners, tips for how to become a homeowner, and really strategies on how to build wealth through homeownership. So I am looking forward to having everybody join those webinars. And I'm going to go ahead and get started today. My topic for today is tips to close an escrow in 10 business days. Now, that is super, super important in today's world because we've got a highly, highly competitive environment where it's a seller's market. We have way more way more buyers wanting to buy homes than we have sellers listing homes for sale. And we have to be really sharp on how we're writing our offers to compete with cash buyers and how to make our buyers stand out compared with buyers that are also in the marketplace doing loans. I want to remind you real quick that if you have any questions or comments, please post them here. I actually can see anything that you post into chat. Kathleen, thank you for the shout out. Anybody else who's on here, feel free to give me a shout out just to say hi so I know who's here. But if you have specific questions about anything that I'm talking about, feel free to ask. And over the next 30 minutes as I'm talking, I'll have time periodically to answer those questions and give you really, really specific advice. So wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube or LinkedIn, post your comments on there and I'll be able to bring them up on screen. If you have questions, I'll bring them up and be able to show that to you and answer your questions. So let's go ahead and dive in right now and start talking about the overall timeline of how do we close a transaction in less than 10 business days. And I want to break it down right now into bite-sized chunks for each day. First of all, the idea is we all have to work together because we have a very, very small amount of time to get a transaction closed that quickly. And if we aren't working together, by the way, hi, Anita, hi, Penny. If we aren't working together, we're going to run into problems and never get it closed in 10 business days. So I'm going to outline what has to happen every single day. First of all, on day 0, that's the day the contract is signed. I need you to get me the contract the same day. Now, if it's signed on a weekend, I'm obviously I'm talking about business days here, so I need to get that contract first thing Monday morning or over the weekend so that I can have it and get everything started. Once I have it in, I'm going to order escrow fees. I'm going to contact the client. We're going to get everything started. By day 1, I need your help in getting the title company to give me their fees immediately because I've got to get the fees from the title company and I've got to get the loan disclosed immediately. And otherwise, we're not going to be able to have this thing close on time. We've got to order the appraisal immediately and, on day 1. And the key here is I've got a panel of appraisers. I do not use an appraisal management company. It's one of the biggest reasons why I can offer the ability to close in 10 business days because I can essentially pay the appraiser extra as a rush fee, and I can get appraisals back in as little as actually not even as little as, on average, 3 business days. And the way that works is simple. We're going to put the order out there and we're going to tell my appraisal department that we're willing to spend up to $1,500 for the appraisal. Excuse me. So that sounds pretty expensive, but recognize an appraisal is $500 or $600 right now. And we've got to get an appraiser that is going to get out there immediately and get the report done. And appraisers are backed up right now. There is a need to get an appraiser to make this a priority. And what it's going to take is paying them more. Now, we don't offer them $1,500 from the start. What we do is we put out there and say, hey, we need this back in 3 business days, and we're willing to pay you $750. And if an appraiser comes back and says, yes, that's great. If they don't come back, we then respond immediately by saying, what price would it take for you to be willing to get this report turned in 3 business days? And if they come back with any number less than 1,500, we're accepting it. And that's critical, because if we wait to get back to the client to ask the client, hey, are you okay with this a little bit higher dollar amount or not? They don't have any choice but to get this moving quickly. The buyer doesn't, because we've committed to a 10-day close of escrow, a 10 business day close of escrow. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat. So this is the fun of doing things live. I get to pause for a second and take a sip of water. All right, there goes my froggy, hopefully. All right, so we are setting a threshold that says the client is okay paying up to that $1,500. What I found is it's typically less than $1,000, or up to $1,000 is typically what it takes to get an appraisal back in the 3 business days. At that point, on day 2, the borrower has to get us their signed disclosures back. That's pretty easy. It's all DocuSign. But the key is that the client has to be aware that they have less than 24 hours to get us anything we ask for. And if they can't do that, that's where we're going to run into trouble. So day 2, they've got the updated documents to us, and we submit the file to processing. Day 3, our processing team reviews the file, finds out if there's anything extra they think we need from the borrower, and gets that by day 4. On day 4, we submit to underwriting, and by day 5, we get the loan approved and the appraisal is in hand. So we are halfway through our escrow period. I've got loan approval, I've got appraisal in hand, and I'm ready to move forward now to ordering the CD and getting any items from the client that we need that came up on the loan approval. Again, for these quick closes, we are 100% on it and we're moving very, very quickly, but our buyer has to be on the same page. Our title company has to be on the same page. If we need to contact an employer and get updated verifications of employment, the buyer has to be ready to call and harass their HR department and do whatever it takes to get them committed to getting us the information we need in a timely manner. So now, day 7, we've got the CD out and the CD's been signed. The borrower's returned the requested items and we've resubmitted for final approval. Day 8, loan final approval is issued. Day 9, docs are drawn, and day 10, loan signing occurs. Now, guys, I will tell you, I have a transaction literally that is signing today that has followed this exact timeline. I got the contract last week over the weekend. So I think it came in Monday morning. We got the file back Monday morning. I had loan approval by Wednesday. I had the appraisal on Friday night. We had the CD on Friday. We got it resubmitted 2 days ago on Tuesday. Loan documents went out last night, and the buyer is signing today. So we are literally within a 2-week time frame getting this file completed from start to finish. So this isn't just a fairy tale type of a timeline. This is a real timeline that we can meet, but everybody has to be working together to make it happen. So day 9, we draw the docs. Day 10, loan signing occurs, and we can fund and record the same day, depending on if we sign early enough. So it is absolutely possible. 10 days is about the shortest you can close an escrow under almost any circumstance, unless we have an appraisal waiver, which we're always going to be able to get closed. Kathleen just gave me a shout out. She's my agent on that transaction that we're closing right now. So thank you for that shout out, Kathleen. So we can always get we're going to look for an appraisal waiver, and that will save us from having to pay the cost of the appraisal or of the appraisal rush fee. But that's not happening as often as we used to have happen. Appraisal waivers are based upon what market prices are selling for and other prices have been selling for. And as prices continue to move up and up, we're continuing to see fewer and fewer appraisal waivers. Unless somebody has a huge down payment, in which case I can undervalue the contract a little bit. And there's a workaround there. I'll get into that in a future webinar when I talk about, do we really need all of those contingencies? That's one of my upcoming webinars. But the bottom line is that this timeline can absolutely be met, but this is about the shortest that we can do is a 10-day close. And I'm saying 10 business days because we can't build in weekends on there. So you've got to think about, hey, when are we writing this contract? What are the holidays that are coming up? We need to make sure that we have enough time within this contract in order to be able to meet the expectations of that 10 business days from start to finish. So please don't just write a 10-day contract. I need you to write it based on 10 business days starting on the date that I'm receiving the purchase contract. So now let's talk about what can go wrong. Again, guys, I want to remind you, if you have questions about anything, please post the questions in comments, whether you are on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on LinkedIn. I can see those comments and I can respond to them as they come in. So please feel free to post comments with any questions. So there's a lot of things we have to be super careful about during this transaction and what can go wrong. First of all is the cooperation of the buyer. They have to be committed to responding immediately. And we all have full-time jobs. They have a full-time job, but they have to understand, if we're trying to close in a short amount of time, we don't have days to have them chase down a bank statement from the bank. So there's some electronic tools that we have. I can verify people's bank accounts for most institutions electronically by sending them a link to log in through a system we have called Account Check. Now, a lot of clients are concerned about that, and they're concerned about, hey, I'm not sure I want to provide access to my bank account. Well, I'll tell you, it's extremely secure. They're not providing access to their bank account, but it gives us flexibility to update and refresh the information immediately. Instead of having to wait for them to get me a new printout, I can just press the refresh button and I can see the data that's in their bank account. So I need your help as I'm talking to your clients about how to structure an offer to close quickly. Before we write that offer, before we get into contract, we're going to be having this conversation. And I need you to support me in these areas as you're a party to the contract, and you're helping me to explain to the buyer that, guys, we've got to use technology on our side because it's going to be the quickest way for us to validate the information. The other things that we can have that are issues obviously have to do with appraisal turnaround time and accessibility of the appraiser to get out to the property. As I said earlier, we don't use appraisal management companies. If you check on my YouTube channel, I did a webinar a month ago with my appraisal department talking about how to navigate the appraisal maze and things that we do different with appraisals. And we do a really, really good job with our appraisals because we do not use appraisal management companies. And the benefit there with appraisal management companies, thank you, Anita. Anita seconds that, what Kathleen says. We absolutely can do this working together. The benefit of not using an appraisal management company is we have direct communication with the appraiser. Our company doesn't have to work through a neutral third party, but we have limited appraisers depending upon the marketplace. If I don't do a bunch of transactions, if Summit Funding doesn't do a bunch of transactions in that market, we might be limited on the number of local appraisers that we have, and we might be forced to use an appraisal management company. Once I add that third party, now we're going to be in much bigger challenges when it comes to turnaround time and efficiency of the appraisal process. Pretty much anywhere up and down the Central Valley, within the Bay Area, Los Angeles and San Diego, the North Coast, we've got pretty good coverage of, and even up the I-5 corridor, we've got great coverage of appraisers. We start getting into fringe areas, deep up into the foothills. There's a lot of areas where we start having limited appraisal coverage. So talk to me before you're writing a short escrow in an area that is not in a major metropolitan area, because we got to figure out whether we're going to be able to even come close to meeting that 3-day turn time on appraisals. The other challenges we're going to run into is loan type, and I'll talk to you in a couple minutes about what types of loans we can do this with, because it is not every type of a loan. We're also going to run into verifications from employers, because we have to validate information from an employer, and we are going to need that employer to be able to respond quickly and get us the information we need quickly. Some employers are better than others, so we're going to need to have the village working together to really get those employers to jump through the hoops in the time that we need them to jump through. That having been said, guys, the last hurdle that I find that we run into is the escrow officer moving as quickly as I need. When I need updated fees, I need them immediately. And I need them very, very quickly, because there's laws about when I issue my disclosures and how soon you can sign documents. TRID, the Tiller Resper Integrated Disclosure, which switched from the HUD one to the closing disclosure 5 years ago. TRID has a rule that says you cannot sign loan documents until 7 days after the initial disclosures have been issued. And when that came out, everybody's like, who cares? You'll never sign loan documents that quickly. Well, we're kind of getting in an environment where we are moving that quickly. And on 2 transactions recently, I've been in a situation where we were ready to close, but I couldn't. And I couldn't because I got delayed by a couple of days at the beginning of the transaction, and title didn't get me the fees I needed as quickly as I wanted to get them. And that delayed how quickly I could get loan disclosures out. And the delay on the initial disclosures going out added to that 7-day time clock, and it made it so that we ran into a situation where we had to delay signing by a day. So we really have to have everybody cooperating to make sure that that doesn't go wrong. Okay, so let's talk about contingencies. As we're looking at contingencies on writing the contract, clearly you're writing a 10 business day close of escrow. So depending upon weekends, that's a 12 to 14 day escrow, depending upon when you're getting your offer accepted. Timelines, honestly, we can write an escrow that is going to be, and I'm going to go back to my slideshow here. Let me pull up the slide. There we go. Okay, so from a timeline perspective, I'm getting my loan approved on day 5. I would tell you that if we're doing a 12-day, 10-day, 10 business day, 12 calendar day close of escrow, I'd go with day 6 as a loan contingency deadline and day 6 as an appraisal contingency deadline. So we can write super aggressive timelines on here. And we can also talk about whether we even need those contingencies. I won't get too deep into that today, but there's a lot of circumstances where we can get away with no loan contingency and or no appraisal contingency. I'll leave it up to you on the inspection contingency and how you manage that timeline. But for sure, we can write shortened contingency timelines so that we can make it even more attractive to the seller. All right, so enough on contingencies. Again, guys, remember, if you have any questions about any of this, any thoughts about it, feel free to post into comments and I'll be happy to share. I want to talk about loan type. So here's the deal with loan type. I can do this for any conventional loan. I can do this timeline for any FHA loan. Jumbo loans are not going to meet this timeline. I have a jumbo loan right now that I'm closing in 21 days. That's about the fastest we're going to close a jumbo loan, and that one was pre-underwritten. So if you have somebody that you know is writing offers in a jumbo market, I literally drew docs. I think I'm drawing docs today on this jumbo loan that we're going to be, tomorrow's our close of escrow date. So for sure we're drawing docs today. So we're drawing docs today and we're going to close tomorrow on this jumbo loan that was a 21-day escrow. And it took every bit of those 21 days, even with having the file pre-underwritten, because jumbo loans have extra stages. The underwriting has to go through 2 levels of underwriting. The appraisal on a jumbo loan has to get underwritten by us, but then we have to do an appraisal review. So the appraisal goes through 2 levels of the appraisal process. And jumbo lenders have restrictions on what appraisers they will allow to appraise for them. So I'm not always open to my entire panel of appraisers when it comes to who's allowed to do an appraisal for a jumbo loan. So if you have a jumbo loan, please don't think that John can close this in 10 business days. A jumbo loan really is 21 calendar days. Now, the truth is that's 15 business days. That's pretty darn good, but 21 calendar days is realistic for a jumbo loan. Same thing holds true for down payment assistance loans. We've got some amazing down payment assistance programs. Cal HFA offers you money to cover all of your down payment and a majority of your closing costs, but all the money has to get repaid. We've got the GSFA Platinum program that gives you the opportunity to cover all of your down payment and just a little bit of your closing costs, but it's all forgiven. It's all a forgivable loan that starts being forgiven. It's fully forgiven after 3 years. So that's a great program. And I also have the GSFA Open Door program that's partly a grant and partly a loan. So great opportunities for down payment assistance, but they take longer. There are extra processes that we have to go through, extra validations through the down payment assistance entity that make those realistically a 21-day escrow. And ideally, we've pre-underwritten the file. So pre-underwriting saves us a little bit of time and gets us a little bit further ahead. The truth is, it's more of a marketing ploy than anything else. And that's really the last thing that I want to talk about that I've got. So if you have questions about anything, feel free to post them. The last key to closing a file in 10 days is talking about, should we get the file pre-underwritten? The truth is, it's not going to shorten this timeline at all. For the 10 business days, even if that file was pre-underwritten, we still have to get it underwritten again once the disclosures have been issued, and then it'll be re-underwritten for final approval. So we're not saving that much time. On a jumbo loan, for sure, we're starting to save some time. But on a conventional or FHA loan or a VA loan, by the way, I can close a VA loan fast too. The problem with VA is I have zero control over the appraisal. So if we get lucky, and by the way, I don't believe we can pay extra to the VA appraiser to get a rush. We will try, But the truth is, VA, I would say 21 days is the shortest we can go because of the appraisal timing and how long it takes to get the appraisal completed. So to be clear, getting a file pre-underwritten really doesn't have us closing faster. Getting a file pre-underwritten, with the exception of jumbo and down payment assistance, getting it pre-underwritten is a marketing ploy to make the listing agent feel better about our transaction and feel better about the fact that, hey, this file is solid and as good as cash. The truth is, it's not that much more solid than me having looked at the file and given my stamp of approval. I understand the industry challenges is that not all lenders are created equally. Nobody's anywhere near as good as I am, and therefore you're going to run into people who say a deal is a deal and it's not. So I do get that side of it, but it really, pre-underwriting doesn't shorten the timelines, except saving us some time on jumbo and down payment assistance loans. Guys, that's pretty much everything that I have for you. So I want to real quick talk about my upcoming webinars that I am doing, and I want to give you a moment to post any questions that you have about anything. Post it into chat, and I'll answer those questions. I've got a good 10 minutes left if you guys have questions about anything. I am doing tomorrow at 12 noon my second Financial Friday live stream. So last week I did a webinar on how to buy a home at the same time that you already own a home, how to buy and sell a home at the same time, and provided really, really good information for people who are owning a home and saying, I'm not really sure how to proceed. I don't know what the next step is. Do I sell my home first and then buy a home? Do I buy the home first and then sell my home, or to try and do both at the same time? And we went pretty in depth for an hour, so you can find that on my YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the little bell right next to it after you subscribe so you're notified anytime I post or go live. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking about secrets to buying when you are self-employed. This is the time of year, while people are doing their taxes, that is perfect and necessary for self-employed people to, Anita, I saw your question. I'll jump on it in just a second. This is the perfect time of year for people who are self-employed and having them work their taxes so that it gives them the best possible advantage to buy a home. Because in some situations, I can use just 1 year of tax returns to qualify somebody, and it can be the current year that you just filed. So definitely join me tomorrow at 12 noon. It'll be about an hour-long webinar. Invite your clients. So you can find that. Well, the link is not live yet, but it will be live. You'll be able to go to financialfridayslive.com, financialfridayslive.com, or just simply go to rsvpwithjohn.com. You see that at the bottom of your screen right now, and you can register for these webinars at rsvpwithjohn.com. Next Thursday, I am doing another one of these at 1:30. The topic is going to be tips to write the winning offer. So we're going to talk about, again, super competitive markets. Rates are going up, and so buyers are getting concerned. And the longer we wait to get them into escrow, the more it's going to cost them. And so we need to figure out, how do we write offers to close faster? And that's what I'm going to be covering next week. All right, so let me jump in and answer. Anita's now got 2 really good questions, so I'm going to answer both of Anita's questions. And guys, I am absolutely here to answer other questions as we move forward. So Anita's first question is, can we close an investment property in 10 days? The answer is yes. It's a conventional loan. We're going to want to pre-order the IRS tax transcripts. That's the biggest challenge, is that because it's an investment property, I need to see transcripts for the client's recent tax returns. The IRS right now is taking about a month. I'm not kidding you, a month to get tax transcripts in. For most loans, we don't need tax transcripts. For investment property loans, with rare exception, I have to get tax transcripts. So you want to get the client meeting with me soon, and we need to get the tax transcripts ordered immediately, because it's taking the IRS about a month to get them to us. Now, if you know anything about how the IRS actually does transcripts, a taxpayer can get their own transcripts in as little as 24 hours. As a lender, those aren't considered authentic. We have to get them directly through our channels of ordering them from the IRS. And the IRS is taking, like I said, anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks right now to get tax transcripts back. So you've got a pretty significant delay there. If it came down to crunch time and we didn't have the tax transcripts, I can often get an exception if we had already ordered them and it had been a couple weeks and we don't have them back, but I don't want to run into that exception situation. So that's the first thing. And then Anita, your second question talks about multi-units. I assume you're asking the same thing about can we close an investment property in 10 days when it's a multi-unit property? Again, it is um, really not a problem. A multi-unit property, I'm trying to think about it. The appraisal might take a day or two extra. That's probably my biggest concern because the appraiser, and actually the same thing on investment properties, the appraiser is having to do a rent survey. So they're having to calculate how much that property will rent for as an investment property. And when it's a multi-unit property, now they've got to do a rent survey on a multi-unit property, which is harder to find rent comps on those. So it could take a little bit longer for them to get the appraisal back. I'd probably say, instead of a 10 business day, I'd rather see a 15 business day close on an investment property. But let's be honest, if you want to ask for forgiveness instead of permission, I think it's likely we could get it closed in the 10 business days, but we might be stuck in a position where we need to ask for forgiveness instead of asking for permission for more time. Kathleen, great question. So where can you find these when you cannot attend? So you can go to a couple of places on rsvpwithjohn.com, or actually the easiest thing is subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll pull up here the link to my YouTube channel, it'll pop up on the bottom here in a moment. So you'll see it right there. YouTube is youtube.com/John Lone King. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll on the home page there will be a link to all of my business builder series, which is this one right here, Business Booster. I keep calling it Builder, Business Booster series. So those are these webinars. And then there'll also be a link to my Financial Fridays series. So you'll be able to see all of the upcoming, at least the future week, the upcoming 1 week, and all of the prior webinars. So if you miss one, go to my YouTube page. You'll have it right there. You can also find the link on rsvpwithjohn.com. So that is it for those questions. Guys, we're getting close to the end. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to post them. I'm going to fill 30 seconds right now of just general information, and then we're going to sign off. So if you have a question burning on your brain, please make sure to post it right now, and I will answer it. And in general, just don't forget, all of this requires us to get started early. That's the biggest encouragement I give you to your buyers is if you're thinking about buying a home, start talking to me early. Nothing bad comes from us getting into a conversation sooner in the process. And often we find things that we wish we would have known had we started earlier. So just make sure that you're getting them in contact with me sooner. And please share my webinar for tomorrow. You can find it on my YouTube page and on my Facebook page, or go to rsvpwithjohn.com to find the link for Financial Friday tomorrow, 12 noon, where I talk about secrets to buy when you are self-employed. And next Thursday, my Business Booster topic will be tips to writing the winning offer. Thanks everybody again for joining me. I'm going to be signing off, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And we'll see you in, 22 hours for my Financial Friday tomorrow afternoon. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.